glad that you've decided to spend your next hour and 20 minutes with me this evening, and to spend your time with me learning about marketing and how it impacts your career. And I know many of you in this room right now, but some of you I don't know. And if you don't know me well or at all, my name is Bridgette Mayer. And since 2001, I've been running an amazing gallery in Philadelphia, the Bridgette Mayer Gallery. I also have a art advisory firm that I started in 2007 called Bridgette Mayer Art Advisors. They're both online, and I have websites for each one of them if you want to explore what I'm doing there. And my business website for my art projects and artist projects is bridgettemayer.com. If you don't know me, you should know that I love curating exhibitions. I love working with artists, and I love, like I said, marketing and selling art. We don't all get to do what we want to do unless we are selling art and we're marketing to sell. So I can tell you that I didn't always feel this way. And when I started my gallery in 2001, my experience at that point, at 26 years old, was working for other gallery owners and being around the system of marketing and taking care of marketing for the businesses I was working in. So for example, when I worked at the gallery I did in New York, I was doing all the front desk operational items, and we would do a card mailing for an exhibition that would be over 5,000 envelopes would go out in the mail. So I was in the mechanics of marketing. I didn't have the bird's eye view perspective that I have right now. And I didn't know at that time how important marketing is and how the planning and promotion of artists and exhibitions drove whether people were interested in buying art and coming out to see exhibitions and projects, or if no one would show up for an opening. I also didn't really understand at that point how to expand marketing. I remember my first gallery exhibition in 2001. I had a group show, and I did a couple of things that got good results. One of the things that I'm going to talk about at the end is how to know if your marketing is getting the results that you want to get, and to assess and pivot if you're not getting the results you want. Information coming into you is going to tell you if you're on the right path, connecting with the right people, or if you need to pivot. So that first show, one of the best things that I did, and some of you might want to take this advice, I made a list of all the top arts writers in Pennsylvania and Philadelphia in particular, where the show was. And I sent out a personalized letter to each press person and each critic, basically telling them about me, why I opened the gallery, and about the artist in the show. And at that point, I didn't have a press list. So that was my first check-in with creating a press list. And I sent that out, and I sent it out 2 months in advance of the show opening. Now, the timing of it was incredibly important because a lot of times art writers are getting more information than they can handle in a given month to write about. So I found that if you get your press release and your information out at least 8 weeks in advance, that's very helpful for a potential art critic to come to your show to want to write about it. I did a little bit of research with each person, and I understood a little bit about how they wrote, a little bit about their background. So I had about 1 to 2 sentences in my personalized press letter about the art writer, letting them know that I had some information around them. I knew their background, and that extra touch of personalization, I believe, really served me well. I had 2 major press people come into the gallery in advance. They made an appointment, and I was really very excited that I got to give them a tour individually. And two articles came out, and one of them was a headline. I was at the top of the Philadelphia Inquirer, big photo of the gallery, several photos of the art, and that was my first press that I got for my first exhibition, and that was a big win for me. And I did it from scratch. I didn't have that press list, and I'm telling you this because some of you that you're building your email list, you're building your press, you're trying to figure out how do people become interested in coming in to write about a show. That's marketing. So I wanted to share that with you. If you feel like you're starting out, or if you feel like you've done some of this and you haven't gotten a result, try to personalize it and tweak it a little bit. Marketing efforts than I did do. And I knew I met with you after the opening, which was packed, and 2 days into the show, I still didn't sell a single work of art. So, and that number one, I needed to sharpen my marketing skills and sharpen them fast, because for all the people that came through, I didn't have the conversation that I needed to have to get them to the point of purchase. I probably had several hundred people come through that opening. I remember feeling really depressed. I had 10 artists in the show. I felt like I was letting them down, not to. And that's when I realized, number one, I had to approach them into art. I had been around sales, I had sold art, but not at this point in my own business. And by the way, next Wednesday, I'm doing a webinar on sales and selling your art. So that's coming up next week. And you're going to get an invite to join that if you'd like. I'm guessing many of you in the audience feel the same way, that some of you might have had a show or an opening. Maybe you didn't get a result. Maybe nothing sold for you. Maybe you felt frustrated. And I think all of you have had an experience where something didn't go right. And someone, whether you or a gallery dealer, missed the mark in that presentation and in their marketing for you. I think if you have been in a position to market your own work and your own shows and have missed the mark. So basically, when you're doing something and trying to get a result and the result's not coming out for you, that tells you something's off in your marketing or your sales or your presentation. You need to hear that. What happens a lot of times is that people, they don't want to take responsibility. Galleries will say, well, it's January, no one's buying art, or COVID's happening. And so I'm sorry, you guys apparently are having a little bit of sound issue, and I'm not sure why. My apologies. I'm not sure. It looks like, Missy, my connection's pretty good. So I'm just going to continue, hopefully, and I'm sorry if it's going in and out. My apologies. So, you know, my story is that I was learning very quickly that there was a lot that I didn't know about marketing and a lot that I needed to know. Before we get into some nuts and bolts, I just wanted to mention that I have my community coordinator, Missy Hacker, here with me tonight. And she is sitting there with my other community person, Emma Alfeld. And we will be doing a Q&A at the end. And there's a live chat, as you can see at the bottom of your screen. So if you have any questions that are coming up for you during my presentation, feel free to type them in. Missy and Emma are cataloging your questions, and we're going to give you a chance to get them answered at the end. And if we can't cover everyone's questions, I usually try to get back to people and make sure they get an answer. I had a question for you, everyone out there in the audience. Why are you here tonight? What was it about the topic that caught your attention, and what are you hoping to get from this discussion? I think it's really important when you do anything to know why you're doing it and what you're hoping to take away from it. So if you could share in the chat room why you're here and what you're hoping to get out of the discussion tonight, I would love to hear that. And some of you are back for this webinar, so that tells me I did a half decent job in compelling you to come back to talk about marketing. So let's get into it. What is marketing, and why should all artists market themselves for success? I have a rule of thumb with a lot of this stuff, and that is to keep it simple. Keep it simple. And this is my take. I've been working on this a long time. So marketing is artists letting the world out there know who you are, and letting the world know this so that they can show up in the multiple spaces and the places where you are and take action to enjoy and to hopefully buy your art. The end goal for most of us with marketing our art, marketing your art, is to sell it. All galleries are marketing to sell your shows. They're marketing to sell your art. So it's letting your audiences know who you are, what your art is about, why you're making it. Listen, this is all good stuff. This is a marketing story I'm telling you. Who you are, what your art is about, why are you making your art? I can tell you out there that Lauren Litwa is making your art for a different reason than James George. I can tell you that Dan Draws is making his work for a different reason than Sean. All of you are so individualized. You are creatives. You are passionate. You have your own story. You have your own idea on why you're making your paintings and your art. I don't know that unless you let me crawl into your head and put that out there in your marketing efforts. You need to let people know why you're passionate about making your art, why some of you have sacrificed so much in your families and your life to get to this point. And some of you are really frustrated right now. So this is very important that you understand that to connect in a deep way with your audiences, you have the power to do this by telling why you're making your art. And ultimately, my mission when I'm marketing is to let as many people on the planet know as possible about a particular artist and get so enthusiastic and excited about it that they cannot wait to pick up the phone or send me an email or send me a message through online Instagram or Facebook or whatever platform we're on, marketing to them. So that's the purpose of your marketing. And the other thing about this is to present your work and how you're doing it in the best, most professional way that you can. I see a lot of artists throw stuff up there, and I'm looking at everything. I just got a newsletter a couple days ago. It was 2 sentences that were not well constructed. It was a fuzzy image attached, and it was announcing something, but it was super unclear. And I looked at it and I thought, wow, that's not a very good email for me to get in my inbox. And I deleted it. And you want people reading through your emails, your newsletters, what you're sending them. You want to compel them to take the next step with you. The next step would be to call you to ask a question or email you, to get on your website to learn more about you and who you are, to inquire about the pricing. That's our mission when we're sending out materials and newsletters. And I know if we're hitting the mark, when the open rate's high in a newsletter, when I see click-throughs all over the page, when I see multiple people clicking on the same image, When I see people coming back a day later to click on the same image, that tells me that they're thinking about it. So this is kind of the back end stuff of email marketing. I go in depth into that in my Art MBA class. So I have come across a lot of misconceptions around marketing from artists, and I just want to talk about this because some of you, you're sitting in this class, I'm telling you what works, what we've done, and some of you might feel that's too easy or that's too good to be true. And some of this is around your mindset and how you feel about marketing. So one of the challenges that I've come across with artists is that many of them feel that when they're marketing, they're bugging someone. If I'm marketing to you, I'm bugging you. I've heard an artist say to me, when I market to someone, I just want them to buy my art. And that seems really inauthentic to me, which was really interesting for me. I got really curious about that. And then the one thing that I've heard recently, which made me laugh, is that I don't like being marketed to myself. So why would anyone want to hear from me? So if you're someone that you hate getting emails in your inbox and you don't read them, then you might feel like you're bugging someone or people don't want to hear from you if you're reaching out to them. So unfortunately, many of you, because you've been focused in your studio practice and your craft and getting better and getting the work together, I know the energy it takes to do all that. Many of you haven't learned too much about marketing, and you've picked up stuff from your peers in the industry. The art industry is often very well behind where marketing is in the actual bigger business world. I can tell you that right now. Many of you are spending a lot of time marketing on Instagram. And some of you have had some success. Don't get me wrong. That's great. But my clients, I've talked about this, they are not hanging out on Instagram, most of them, looking to buy a $5,000 or $10,000 painting. They might be glossing through Instagram. They might enjoy it. It's eye candy. It's entertaining. Some people do it before they go to sleep, but they're not spending their time on Instagram. If you want the bigger ticket clients, you got to find where they're hanging out. They're hanging out in LinkedIn. They're actually more hanging out on Facebook. And they're not necessarily hanging out on Instagram. So some of you are spending a lot of effort on Instagram. No, don't get me wrong. We work with a lot of people, interior designers, art consultants, and architects that are on Instagram, and they love seeing our project images. I just got an inquiry from posting something. It was an installation photograph. Someone saw it and they said, wow, that's great. Send me a price list for that artist. So I'm not saying don't do it. I'm saying really look at, if some of you are being challenged by not selling enough art, you got to look at where you're spending your time and where you're marketing yourself. And I think many, many artists are under the conception that Instagram is the place to be for your art. I think of it as one giant advertisement. What I'm focused on is email marketing and a lot of over the phone and direct sales and marketing. And I'm going to cover that, some of the sales in the next webinar next week. So I just wanted to say that because I talked to a lot of artists, and then you hear a crazy story. A friend sold out her studio on Instagram. Okay, well, my first question is how much was the work? What I hear quite a bit is that people are selling under $500 pieces on Instagram. That's okay. I'm saying take the sales, take the money, but I'm also saying make sure you're putting yourself in a power position to find and bring in the clients. And part of that is having a website that has a pop-up where you can have someone put in their name and their email, So you can start getting their email if they're interested in you. You have a sign in on your website that's quick and easy. And I'm also saying, if you're on social media, one of the challenges is that they change their algorithms and how they interact with the public. So you could have groups of people that have been following you for a long time. These people can automatically disappear. And guess what? You don't know who they are. You don't have their emails potentially and most likely. And so we spend a lot of time building our email list and doing super high quality email marketing that's segmented to our list of people. If anyone has a question about that, feel free to drop it in the chat room. I'll try to get back to that. The truth is, you guys, the world revolves around marketing. And the world revolves around business and things being sold. So the other point of marketing is relationships. And I'm all about relational selling and relationships that you build throughout your career and throughout your marketing. For example, and I shared this before, I think I've shared it on Instagram. I met a client. He wasn't a client yet. He came to an art fair we were participating in. We had a really nice conversation. He was a buyer for Neiman Marcus, and he loved art and very high quality, high ticket items. He didn't really like anything that I was exhibiting that year. And I asked him if I could keep him updated. He said yes. So he signed my email list book, and I got his address and I got his permission. After the fair, he went on our email list. We tagged him as a VIP, very important person. I tag people that I have interactions with that haven't purchased art as a VIP, because I know that with time and with relationship building and building trust with that person, that eventually, most likely, they are going to buy art from me. They're going to see something that they like and they're going to buy it. I've had this philosophy from day one, and I have worked consistently to build our email lists. And when I'm coaching artists, one of the things that I hear quite a bit is that most of you out there don't put a lot of time into list building. You can start today. I was just coaching someone that needed to grow, and I think she's here tonight, so I'm not going to call you out, but I was coaching someone, and I asked her, how many art consultants do you have on your list? She has beautiful paintings, and I want her to sell more. And art consultants are an incredibly viable source of sales. My gallery on average sells between 1 to 3 paintings a month from an art consultant in some given state in the US. So I have a little bit of an obsession about finding and adding art consultants to our mailing list and our email list. We do it state by state. We want to make sure that everyone that's consulting that kind of has a match to what we're showing, which is contemporary art, knows that we exist, that we are on the planet, that they should know the artist, so we market to them. That's another tip for you guys. Grow your art consultant list. She only had a handful of people, and I tasked her with building her email list around art consultants and doing it state by state, and then putting together a very professional, brief, concise, friendly email with a PDF attached with 5 to 10 of her best pieces with pricing, and sending that out in an email to encourage people to start connecting in with her art. And that every time she gets a response, even if it's, thank you, your work doesn't match my aesthetic right now, or I don't have a project, you write them back and say, thank you for viewing my art. May I add you to my newsletter email list to get occasional updates from me? Most people will say yes. Most people are friendly, and they care about connecting. It's rare that I get people that say no. And sometimes if If they don't want to be on your list, they can simply unsubscribe. So that these relationships that you're building in your marketing are key, and you can start building them at any point in your life. All of you here tonight are sitting in the room. I'm an art consultant. I'm an advisor. So you're building your relationship with me, whether you recognize that or not. That's important. Showing up in spaces like this and being in a community and working together, working on what we're talking about, that builds contacts, that builds your list. That's another way to connect with people. What I found with artists is that many of them are sitting back. They're waiting. They're waiting for people to get in touch with them. They're waiting for permission to market to people. Don't wait for permission. Just do it. Do it in a great, professional, friendly way. And don't sit back and wait anymore. Take the first steps and reach out. This is kind of like, I love the metaphor of dating when I'm talking about this stuff, because if you sit back, if you're trying to, if you're in the dating pool and you're sitting back, guess what? You're waiting for someone to come up to you. Go up to them. Introduce yourself. Tell them why you love being an artist. Shake their hand. Send them a PDF. Just get out there and stop waiting. Don't wait anymore. And I hope tonight you are writing down your checklist as I'm coaching you on what you can do, and adding to your email list, approaching people, being proactive, getting out there into the marketplace. Put that on your list because you need to hear that. Some of you are very leery and paranoid about being marketed to. And because of that, you're missing opportunities. And instead of seeing an opportunity, some of you are saying to yourself, what's in it for them? I wanted to share a personal story around this because I've had this interaction with people, and I just feel that it's important for you guys. And this is a mindset. If some of you have never heard me mention this, I have a book all about mindset for artists, Art MBA Mindset. I wrote it because I kept coming across the same situations with artists, and I started interviewing people. I went down the rabbit hole, and what I discovered blew my mind. All of you sitting here tonight have a mindset about marketing. You have a mindset about being marketed to. And ask yourself right now, when I get an email in my inbox that is telling me something or it sounds salesy, how do I feel about that? So in my world, I'm obsessed with reading how people talk about what they're doing because I love learning. So when you guys email me, I read it all. I'm kind of a nerd. And I want to hear, how are you presenting yourself? What are you talking about? What can I know about you? And I'm looking to be blown away. So just know that there are people like me in our industry that love looking at art, that love connecting with artists. So this is another, don't wait, get out there and be in that dating pool of your art career. I love that quote, by the way. I just made that up. One of my mentors over many years is a guy that some of you might know. He's a marketing guru named Seth Godin. And Seth has written a lot of books. And I met him through a friend that was helping him put together an office and knew about my gallery in Philadelphia. He asked if I would show Seth some artwork for their office in Nyack, New York. I said yes. I didn't actually know who he was until I looked up his name. I researched him and I was like, oh my God, this guy's a big deal. He's a marketer. He's written 20 books. And I went there, I was shaking, I was nervous. This is 2002 when second year into my gallery. I dropped off the painting. I had a conversation with him. I almost fainted. And then I wrote him back to thank him. And I wrote him back and I said, hey, I'm a new gallery owner and I know you're a seasoned marketer. And would you mind if I, emailed you on occasion to ask you a question when I'm having a challenge. And he said, by all means. I mentor a lot of people. So through many, many years, I would drop him a couple emails a year and he would answer me back. And I became obsessed with him, super fan. I signed up for every single thing he had. Every blog post I read, everything he did, I put my name on it. And every time I got an email from him, I would open it with great excitement because I knew every time he was writing, he was sharing something that would be of value to his audience. So can you imagine if you could reverse how you feel about being marketed to and take on the approach that anytime someone's selling to you, it's an amazing opportunity to learn how that person is selling to you and to take some of that information and mirror it and utilize it for your own art marketing. So if you have artists out there that you adore, that you think are amazing and are very high up, if you have galleries that you adore, guess what? Get on their list, get on their email list and let them email you. Start seeing how they're talking about what they're doing. Not only that, get into their Instagram feed, get on their Facebook page, follow them on LinkedIn and become obsessed and take on and reverse this whole thing that I've heard a lot of artists say, what's in it for you? Ask yourself, what's in it for me? This seasoned person that's been doing something for many, many years is trying to teach me something. So what can I learn? What can I apply back to my own endeavors as an artist? I've coached a lot of artists that need help around their websites. They need help with having a better Instagram feed and page that looks more professional, that doesn't look like someone coming out of high school. I was gonna say college, but really it's high school art with how they're presenting themselves. If you're not sure what that looks like, start dialing into the top people in our industry. My Instagram feed is a good one. We're very focused there. We're focused on education. We're focused on taking our clients through a journey of each artist and keeping them connected with all the hot topic stuff that we're doing around each artist. So if you're not sure how to market, get on my gallery Instagram page, get on our Art MBA page, which I think most of you are on because you're here, and start looking at how are people telling their story? How are these artists telling their story? It's a great way to get inspiration and ideas. So, you know, my whole thing about marketing is it's a chance to take your passion out into the world and connect it with those that want to be in your world and they want to participate and be in your community. I know this because when we market out, I get a lot of opens. People open the email, they click around, they don't unsubscribe. I learned something interesting early on. We were sending out 1 to 2 emails a month, and I was getting a lot of unsubscribes. And when I started noticing that, I started trying to figure out why that was. So instead of just getting annoyed when someone would unsubscribe, I would actually email them. And I would say, hi, I saw that you unsubscribed. I was just curious, did you see something you didn't like? Did we do something to annoy you? And what I got back consistently was, you're sending me too many emails. So that's when I recognized, okay, people don't want to get bombarded with emails from me every 2 weeks. So we switched our newsletters, and this is a great tip for you guys. We switched our newsletters to 4 times a year, seasonally, winter, spring, summer, fall. That's when we do them. And if we have anything that's out of the ordinary, like recently I had 2 artists that I've been working with, I sold their work to museums. We wanted to let people know that this was happening. So we did a special newsletter and we launched it out even though we had done one a couple weeks prior. We felt that the information would be well received, which it was. I'm doing an artist talk by Zoom tomorrow night. An artist that I represent, Tim McFarlane, and it's for Black History Month. I felt that even though we had sent an email a couple weeks ago, some of my clients who love his work want to know that he's doing a lecture. So you can be selective. It's not a hard and fast rule. And then what I would say, I've heard from artists, I don't really feel like I have enough for a newsletter. So my advice is start a Word document or an Excel sheet or something, or even a notepad. Anytime something exciting happens for you, write it down. You got an image in a newspaper somewhere. You got an award. You're in a show. You're in a group show. You're featured somewhere. You got a press article. Keep a list. And if you're really proactive, you can go into wherever you're doing your emails and your newsletters and actually create a newsletter document and start designing it. And anytime something exciting happens, just put it right into the document. And when you get to a handful of items, maybe 4 or 5, I think that's a great time to send it out. I'm a huge fan of email and newsletter marketing. I think I got sidetracked, I'm realizing, Missy. The story about the guy at Art Miami. So he went on my list and I emailed him for 10 years. And guess what? It didn't really take me any time to email him. I sent him a newsletter with everyone else, and 10 years into it, he bought a major painting. It took 10 years. I had another client like this. They were on my list for 5 years and they bought a piece. Another client was on my list for 3 years, they bought a piece. My point is that keep them on your list, keep sending them beautiful, well thought out newsletters, and they are getting to know you through time, and they will come to enjoy hearing from you. And the reality is if they don't, then they'll unsubscribe. Then you can send them an email and ask them, hey, I noticed you unsubscribed. Did I do something annoying? So that would be my suggestion around that. And I mentioned this in the marketing of this webinar, that my first rule of marketing is that no one will know about you unless you let them know about you. I do have a couple slides to share with you guys. I'll give you a little visual break from staring at me. Hopefully you guys can see this. I cover marketing over, gosh, it's 2 months of marketing in my Art MBA program. I have a deep dive. We have worksheets and other things. So this is a slide from that. I love this because it talks about marketing so simple. It's an action or business. It's the action or business of promoting and selling products or services. It's that simple. And if you're cringing, this is a mindset moment to see why and explore that, and tell us in the comments if you are, because I want to help you. I have a favorite author that is a business guy that talks about marketing. He explains it that the aim of marketing is to know and understand your customer so well that the product or service fits him and sells itself. So I love this idea that if you have spent time qualifying your clients, and by qualifying, what I mean is doing your research. For example, an interior designer, we work with many of them. We know if they are likely to be interested in a particular artist or the gallery by how their projects look online. And this is the beauty of social media and Instagram. You can literally find everyone online. So this is one of my favorite questions. How can you, as the maker of your artwork and your ideas, the person that is creating your work and holding the vision of your career, figure out who your customer is and know them? And by knowing them, initially for some of you, it's going to be research. And through research, you can get to know someone. I can research all of you, your bios on your website, your artist statements on your website. I can get to know you through the number one point of entry into an artist's world, which is your website. So you want these customers, you want them to know you so well that when they see your art and when they talk to you and learn more about your creative vision, they will ultimately purchase your art. And the idea is for them to buy it as quickly as they can. This gets into the next question. Customers are everywhere. Customers are potentially galleries who represent you. They are people who purchase your art, whether through a gallery or through your own studio initiatives. They are curators, they are designers, they are consultants, they are anyone who's purchasing art. I've had children come into my gallery with their parents and pick out art, which I love, by the way. I've had family members buy art from my gallery to decorate their homes. I've had gallery artists love someone so much that they couldn't resist it and they bought art. I walk around in the world feeling that everyone in my world is a potential art collector and customer. And I think I'm teaching a sales class right now. And one of the things that people have told me is that they feel a little bit skittish with approaching good friends that they know or people in their life that have been in their life. And I'm trying to reverse this mindset. And I said to them, what if your good friend from college has been waiting her whole life for you to ask her to take a look at your art? You just haven't invited her. What if your neighbor, I have one of the women in my class, she has sold in the last several months over a dozen works of art to her community through being out there, shoveling snow, talking to people, building these relationships, getting their emails, sending them newsletters. She has sold over a dozen works of art in the last several months. And I love these stories. It tells me that, yes, if you can put yourself out there, if you can go first, then you can put yourself in the room with people. So this is the question that many artists want to ask me. Why do I have to market myself and market my art? And I've talked a little bit about it, but in my opinion, marketing is a must. How am I going to know about you if you're not marketing yourself? How are you going to know about me and being here tonight if I didn't tell you about it? And I think many of you obviously enjoyed enough to get to the point of clicking and signing up to be here. So that tells me that I did something right to grab you guys to want to learn with me tonight. So marketing is a must. You need to let your public and buying audiences know who you are and what your work is about. And I'm continuing to say this because a lot of artists just put up an image and they think that explains the whole thing. It does not. I want to know the story. I want to know, why did you work with that color? Why is it titled that way? What inspired the image? And I think if you can start telling more stories through your marketing and online, you're going to get a more engaged audience. You also want to let galleries, institutions, and other public entities know who you are and what your work is about, because most of you want and need more opportunities to grow your career. And these are always continuing. And that's the thing. Marketing never ends. You can market hard for a period of time and stop. And the minute you stop, the minute you stop connecting with people. One of the challenges for many artists is that, how do I have the time to do all this? And I love talking about how to create a business schedule around your art business. There's ways to create blocks of time to grow your marketing. You want to market to grow your following, to attract new collectors, to purchasing your art. And ultimately, you all have your own dream of what you want out of your art career. Each one of you out there is different. And you're all at a different stage. You all have a different mission, purpose, vision. And part of marketing is getting clear on, why am I doing what I'm doing? And what's my mission? What's my purpose? What's my vision for this career that I worked so hard to put together? And part of that is just working on that vision, scheduling the time, starting to look at what's working for you and what's not working. So Missy, let me check my time here. I'm going on a marketing rant. So I'm going to summarize real quick, and then I'm going to tell you for a few minutes about Art MBA All Access that I'm launching. And then I'm going to do our Q&A. So I have a lot of beliefs around marketing. And let me just say that I'm trying to give you as much as I can in this period of time. I could spend a week talking to you guys about marketing. My Art MBA has hours and hours of marketing videos. We have worksheets that talk about, this is one of them. It's a marketing worksheet that you get really clear on how your marketing can be successful for you. And it takes you through a process of putting together a marketing plan. But I can tell you that my beliefs, and if you can get clear on what your current beliefs are around marketing and how you might need to change them, and I hope I gave you some ideas on how to change them, including seeing everything as an opportunity for yourself. My beliefs around marketing, artwork by artists and sharing it into the world are the following. When I'm marketing art and selling it, I am changing someone's life for the better. And I've had people tell me, buying art has changed my life. It has brought me into a community. It has given me beauty. It has made my house amazing. It has brought me friendships that I never had before with artists. So my belief from hearing this from clients is that when someone buys a work of art and when I market to them to buy art, I am changing their life for the better. If you can take that on as a belief, you are going to transform your career. I'm telling you. I believe that by marketing, I am bringing creativity and vitality into the world. Imagine, Dan, if you said to yourself, Dan Draws, I'm looking almost right at you. Imagine waking up saying to yourself, when you go to the studio, I love what I do, and I am bringing creativity and vitality into the world through the art that I'm making and how I'm talking about it and how I'm marketing it. That to me gives me goosebumps just saying it to you. If you said that to me, I would want to come buy your art. I believe too that by marketing, I am helping people be part of something important that is outside of themselves that helps the community that I'm in be better. So I'm in a community in Philadelphia where the work that I do has not only transformed the community of artists, but it's transformed people that have bought from around the United States. We believe that we are leaders in what we're doing and how we're operating in the art world, and that I'm bringing important things into the community through selling and marketing art. My final belief around marketing and selling art and being with artists is that this is my purpose in life. This is why I'm here. It's my calling. And all of you are here because it's your passion, it's your calling to be an artist. Now, the next step for you is to start learning the mechanics to get more sales, get clients, get better clients, and really kickstart yourself in a powerful, authentic, and a confident way. I'm going to end before I go into Art MBA with, I have 2 questions for you. What are you currently doing in your marketing that's working? You need to know it's working because you can keep doing that. What's working works, so do it. Then you need to know what's not working. And when I say what's not working, you're not getting a response. People aren't emailing, they're not calling, you're not getting into shows, you're not selling your art as much. that the gap between what's working and what's not working, the space in between that is where all this amazing stuff that you can start playing with around marketing, including building your email list, sending out beautiful emails to people, putting a pop-up on your website to capture emails, thinking about your online platform as a place to inspire and not just a place to dump information. These are all that gap between what's working and what's not working, and everything in between is where you need to grow your marketing.